Record. Hi, this is your host Shubham Tiwari, and I welcome you all to Industry Talk, a show brought to you by Wonderpublish Magazine, where we try to bring to you the best of the voices from publishing, education, as well as education technology industries. Our today's guest is the founder of Vijay Nicole Imprints, Mr. P.K. Madhavan. Welcome to Wonderpublish Magazine, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yes. Vijay Nicole Imprints, it's a content company which predominantly focuses on three strands. One is educational publishing, the other is publishing services, and focused on the learning. The third one is the learning. Yeah. So, sir, let's start there. I mean, what was your experience like during this, hard 10 months period? Yeah.
To put it in a very simple analogy, an already tired businessman was resting under a coconut tree, and the coconut fell on his head. So it was like that. The pandemic was a big blow, which took the lid away from the publishing industry all around. Especially so in education. The education space, as you know, schools and colleges were closed, and there was and we didn't see. We were the fag end of the year when the lockdown was announced, and so we didn't have time to even recover our past dues. And later on, when the relaxation happened, the sales also was there were no sales, and there was no. I mean, we could not collect some of our past dues. So,
right.
The COVID per se was a very, very liquid and very tough time.
Tough period, yeah.
But then the point I want to make is that the publishing industry has been facing tough times even prior to that.
Okay.
Especially the educational publishing scene, but generally there was sluggishness in the market. The engineering sector was not doing that well, and the management sector was also not doing that well. The arts and science segment was doing reasonably well. Schools were doing very well.
Right.
General publishing was not exactly flourishing, but it's still doing well. Okay. But then a lot of things happened. Towards the end of 2019, there was a CAA strike by students, and that disrupted the whole proceedings. And, so the pandemic was bad for sales, bad for collections, bad generally for business.
Absolutely. So we all experience that. And sir, what do you mean by general publishing? You said that, apart from educational publishing, general publishing was sort of like there in the air.
So, see, general publishing is a very, very large field. It comprises of, fiction and non-fiction.
Okay.
And it's also called trade publishing.
Trade publishing, yes.
Trade publishing. So all the other than the educational segment, the entire other segment is called the general or trade publishing, and that includes Indian language publishing in Indian languages too, which again has quite a large number of publishers and people from across the country. Say, for instance, there would be about 200 Tamil publishers, maybe about 50 to 60 Kannada publishers.
Right. And
Hindi, there would be quite a large number of players.
Yeah.
So all these are, that is what I meant by general trade.
So, sir, like you spoke about trade publishing, they have their backlist and front list. So
Correct.
A lot of them, held on to their front list. They were not, like coming out with those books. So did you also experience the same thing with educational publishing, educational books?
See, in fact, educational publishing was gutted during the pandemic.
Okay.
In the sense that there was definitely not much of publishing happening at all with educational publishers. I mean,
right.
Why would publishers bring out titles when they know the market is already sluggish and down?
Yeah.
And even the backlist, those that were not reasonable sellers were sidelined and kept in abeyance, kept away, and only those which were bestsellers they were taken out. Not in very high quantities, in smaller quantities.
Right.
Because the beginning, I mean, even in June, July, we didn't know how the year would pan out. and even now we are not sure how the rest of the year would be.
Right.
So even in 2021, hoping that things would become better.
Institutions are opening now. Yeah.
Yeah, opening and
Finally.
yeah.
So, I mean, sir, the institutions were closed for such a longer period of time. I mean, it's historic, how schools were closed for that long. But, sir, the ebooks, I mean, the acquisition of ebooks must have been happening. So,
Yeah.
what was the performance on that front?
So, see, before the pandemic, there was all our books were available as PDF versions.
Okay.
And we've had tie-ups with some publishing platforms even 3 to 4 years back.
Okay.
So I would say if it was less than 1% before the pandemic, it became maybe less than, between 1 and 2% after the pandemic. The traction was only so much.
Not much of a difference.
Yeah, it was not much of a difference.
Okay.
Primarily, I would say the students were going through online fatigue, and probably the sales of let's say ebooks and things like that would be much higher after the pandemic, when students start going to education institution. I think then they would have lesser of online classes, and they would have time to use their devices to read ebooks and things like that. We did expect a lot of traction for ebooks. We had developed quite a number of products, but that didn't happen.
Okay. So are you expecting an uptick now in the adoption to ebooks?
As I told you before, I expect this to happen after normalcy returns.
Okay, somewhere into
after normalcy returns, I expect that there will be certain categories ebooks.
Certain categories.
Yeah. There would be categories which will only be digital first and only as a digital product. They will not take the print route at all.
Okay.
Because it makes more sense for the publisher not to invest in stock and not to invest a thing, but go on an order-to-order basis.
Right.
So there will be a lot of titles which will go into that segment. And after normalcy returns, I would expect better sales of ebook sales.
So can you tell us about those categories which will be ebooks first?
Yeah. So see, for different publishers there are bestsellers.
Oh yeah.
Now, all the bestsellers would still continue to be
published in print.
Will be published in print.
Right.
And those that are, let's say, less than the 200 or 300 copies category for an educational publisher, maybe lesser for some other types of publishers, they would go into the print on demand or on digital only basis.
Right.
So, for instance, our own catalog, we have identified titles which should be only digital, and we will tell whoever they want that we are giving this to you at this price, and you can have it as an ebook or as a digital product.
Right. So, sir, speaking of digital publishing, you have explored many platforms. You're saying you were there, 4 years ago even. So, I mean, there were more tools and more, solutions available during this time. So, would you see a different kind of, content medium coming up? Let's say ebooks, audiobooks are there, and so what kind of, new things can come up?
Yeah. See, there are a lot of experiments and initiatives being done. They were done even before. They found a lot of takers now. As you said, the multimedia book is definitely going to be the in thing in the
going ahead in the future.
You have a combination of text,
video,
audio, video,
yeah,
and links to other pages, and that sort of publishing is definitely going to take place.
Yeah.
And separate audiobooks, separate video books, books which are converted into smaller units.
Right.
Books which are maybe even offerings of a single chapter. offering on in a serial type of fashion. All these are going to all these models might be in thing. Now some of the other initiatives could be, there will be some aspects of the book which can be converted into which are very suitable or amenable for AR VR,
Right.
and that may be done. Uh, I feel a lot of things might be done around the periphery of the book. Say, for instance, you will have a question bank, you will have a teacher's resource, you will have,
Right.
let's say, objective type questions,
Yeah.
maybe some of the pedagogical features. All these might, which is around the periphery of the main textbook will be a smaller book.
Okay.
And the periphery of the book will all be digital products. So
Okay.
that is something that you can expect both in school and college publishing, as well as to some extent in illustrated books where you will have AR, VR, or you will have celebrity voices
Yeah.
for storybooks, and you will have hotspots which link you to other pages.
Right.
That is quite possible.
Right. And we saw, the new education policy also came during this pandemic. So, I mean, would you say government would have done more for the publishers, educational publishers, let's say?
Um, See, the largest publisher in India is actually the government.
Government of India, yeah.
Government of India.
Yeah.
So both through NCRT as well as SCRTs, they are the largest publishers. Now, if you take the Tamil Nadu state government, their textbooks have, QR code which links you to various pages, and
Right.
um, uh, they also provide a lot of free material to students in for appearing for NEET and other competitive exams.
Right.
Because there was a hue and cry that the syllabus of Tamil Nadu was not good enough. So they used to provide a lot of guidance to students. But per se, see, as yet, one of the biggest drawbacks of the Indian publishing body is they are yet to be recognized as an industry by the government.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So they are not recognized as an industry. They have not been able to, except making sporadic meetings with the powers on a systematic basis. They have not been able to get favors from the government on any aspect of publishing. So the industry is as yet not recognized. I would say the industry is also at fault, or the models are at fault, because even simple statistics are not available. How many publishers in India are there? How many titles are published? Which are the bestsellers?
Right.
And how many titles do you bring out in languages, Indian languages? Right. How many do you bring out in English? What is the actual sale of a title?
Right.
These statistical
not available,
not there. So that is a drawback. That's a huge drawback, actually.
So would you say, I mean, regional publishing in regional languages may be facing more challenges than, let's say Hindi or English?
Yes and no. Yes, because they have a limited market to cater to, and if in a situation like pandemic, when people are not buying, then there is a problem.
Yeah.
But so in that way, they are facing the same problems that English
languages. Yeah.
But an English language, say Indian language publisher has at least in Tamil Nadu and maybe in a few other states, they get regular library buying from the government every year.
Right.
So every year there is a library buying which the government does. Maybe they buy 500 copies of a title, or 1,000 copies, or sometimes even 100 copies of a title. So publishers, Indian language publishers, wait for those orders, and they're able to sustain themselves on that. The English language publishers, of course, have a larger market, and the educational market is pretty large. So they are able to cater to that. But I think they are catering only to the 30% of the market. The 70% is held by the government. Yeah. Okay. So it's a plea for a long time by the publishers' body that the state should not be publishing. They should leave it to the private publishers.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Indian, see, the general population in India is such that the sort of prices that NCRT or SCRTs are able
You
to
can
give,
afford.
or the
Yeah.
Tamil Nadu, I mean, their textbook societies are able to
Right.
give, I don't think private publishers will be willing to do that.
Yeah.
And
So yeah.
so the number of government schools,
Yeah.
it was surprising information for me when I did a little bit of research that there are more students studying in government schools than in the private education system.
Okay. I don't know how to feel about that. I mean,
You know, so we all seem to know only the bigger or larger schools and things like that, but essentially a large part of India is still catered to by the government institutions, and so that is also the truth for us.
right, sir. So, I mean, you just talked about this, statistic, which is rather astonishing. So, would you also tell us about, more learnings from this pandemic for you? First of all, what Vijay Nicole did,
Okay.
something new or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
So essentially, ours was we took some policy decisions
Yeah.
that we would stop investing in new titles,
Okay.
and we would also print very carefully for the pandemic
Right.
year. And apart from that, see, our major initiatives for the print segment was this, that we had to be more careful with what we did. But what we did very vigorously is get into digital publishing in a major way, which if this pandemic had not happened, we would have been very content with the print market and not gone ahead in that great scale.
Right.
We tied up with 5 or 6 publishing platforms.
Yeah.
So these publishing platforms offered our ebooks and offered our books to various students and various
Yeah.
groups. And apart from that, we already had EPUB versions of our, we had PDF versions of of our books as ebooks.
Right.
We converted quite a lot of our books into EPUB versions also, and we have identified a few titles from ours which we can convert into AR VR and
Right.
offer to the students. We also identified titles which we could you know we identified titles which we could make into courses, especially in employability areas. Like
Offer like courses. Right.
we offer like courses like
Right.
one of our books, quantitative aptitude for competitive exams, that we got converted into a course. Then we also have a book on retailing, a book on customer service, a book on
Right.
logistics and supply chain management, which we are planning to convert into courses.
Right.
Soft skills book, we thought we could convert it into courses. Spoken English, we are trying to convert it into courses. So a lot of product ideas and initiatives have been done. To tell you the truth, the traction has been less, but I'm not very worried about it now, because whatever
Right.
effort we put in now will fructify as we go forward.
It's a long game, would you say?
We wouldn't have done this if not for the pandemic. So
Absolutely.
all these actions have been done. We have also, identified those titles where we can have the authors give a lecture, and so convert them into a lecture note.
Oh wow.
Also identify titles which we can convert them where students may ask for a chapter.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so make sure that thing. One of the big things that we did was create a product kit. Where the
Product kit. Okay.
product kit.
Okay.
And so we gave 4 titles for the price of 250, 5 titles for the price of for the third semester, 5 titles for the price of 350, and 6 titles for the price of 450.
Okay.
This was for the Madras University BCom segment.
Right.
So I'm sure this can be replicated as we go along. This can be replicated throughout, say maybe in a Bangalore University or Andhra University or any universities we can replicate.
Create a product kit for them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a product kit. I mean, this is only the digital. We will not be able to do it with print.
Or the print.
It can be only done on the digital
Right.
platform.
Of course. So, sir, if I take you back in time when you founded Vijay Nicole,
Right.
you chose this strategy of win-win harmony.
Right.
What did you mean by that back then, and does it still apply in these tough times?
Uh, yeah. So the name Vijay Nicole was a coinage of Vijay, also my son's name, which means
Oh,
victory,
wonderful.
and Nicole, which means victory again,
Okay,
and it's got a feminine touch to it. So it was a
great.
yin yang balance,
Okay,
and it was coined as a win-win harmony. So I think the harmony of win. See, when we do something together in business, you have to win, and I have also have to win. So the
correct.
win-win philosophy, in whatever times, it is very. It has to be there. So in whatever times that we are in, we need to have this win-win philosophy in order to succeed in business.
Right.
You cannot say I will take more from you. I cannot say I will take more from you, and so there will always be discord.
Yeah,
So it has to be win-win, and I think it applies more as we go forward, because what the pandemic has taught us is too much greed. You're going to suffer. So I think going forward, we need to support each other and move forward.
absolutely right, sir. And you, sir, yeah, you spoke about these ebooks platforms, which
Correct.
kind of provided you a marketplace for
Correct.
books. So, what would you say about them? How important are these platforms? Maybe newer platform will come in the future for the
Correct.
publishers who are still stuck in those traditional molds.
Yeah. So I would say they are absolutely important for small and mid-level companies, because they cannot spend the sort of money that MNCs can, or bigger publishing companies can afford to spend to
Correct.
develop a platform and things.
On
So they
their
are
own.
absolutely
Right.
essential for small and mid-sized companies.
Right.
And um, see, so I feel the future, it's going to be even more stronger relationships, because it's going to be a marriage between those who have content knowledge and those who have technology
Correct.
knowledge. So it is going to be even more crucial as we go along. See, one of the most crucial things about publishing platforms is their ability to provide DRM solutions,
Yeah.
provide DRM and thing. That is very essential, because see, I'm a publisher with 300 titles,
Right.
and I need somebody who will understand that I hold my authors. My authors are trusting me to, make sure that their rights
Their
are,
content. Yeah.
their content is safe and their
Yeah.
IP is protected. Now, so I need the DRMs to be strong, where if I give a content to a particular publishing platform, it doesn't evaporate into thin air, or it doesn't get downloaded and taken on. So being able to read something within your own screen, or within your own platform, that is very crucial for smaller publishers. And I think there is a lot more that can be done, because see, I can tell you that 90% of the publishers may not even know of the existence of publishing platforms.
Right. It's
They may
sad.
not
Yeah.
know.
Just quite
They may
sad.
not
Yeah.
know. They may not know what is it that you. In fact, I've been able to advise 2 or 3 of my friends who are into publishing that they should tie up with publishing platforms. One of the things that publishing platforms thing is, since they are in an aggregation mode, they don't expect exclusivity, whereas the publishing
Right.
world has been used to exclusivity. So
It's freedom.
exclusivity,
Yeah.
yeah, gives them a worry that, oh, I'm stuck with
With this
so and
particular platform.
so
Right.
publishing platform. So because publishing platforms offer that flexibility,
Yeah.
um,
Which was not
there
there
is a
before.
there is a that fear is not there. But I think, see, this is a pioneering effort.
Yeah.
So probably the fruits of it, just like I said earlier, you will also see it only 2 to 3 years from now.
Yeah. Absolutely, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure going forward there will be a lot more traction. Going forward, you need to rope in all the smaller players.
Yeah.
See, what is a mistake I feel the publishing platforms have done is they go for the big names, to start with.
Yeah.
Whereas the big names are always thinking, how do I not give you 40% or 30% or 20%, and instead capture that market myself? Why should I give my database to you? So they are thinking in that way. Whereas a
Right.
smaller firm will be thinking, I cannot invest that sort of money. If I have that sort of money, I'll rather invest in content. Let Wonderslate or any other companies be my partner in this technology effort.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you brought it up, sir, because my next question was that only. Is there anything that these platforms don't understand about publishing industry or publishers in particular?
Um, I'm not saying they don't understand. See, basically, they need to understand that this is a new effort. This is absolutely a pioneering effort, and in spite of all the money that has been invested into this segment, I don't think anybody has actually started seeing money.
Okay.
So, or for that matter, there isn't enough traction from the thing. So it's a double-edged thing. On the one hand, you need to educate the reader.
Right.
You need to convince the reader that, hey, you come to me and I'm able to offer you all these things. And on the other hand, you need to educate the publisher also that you need to do this. So it's a double-edged thing that you have to a double service that you have to do. Educating two sets of people. So essentially, you need to get the students to come to you. You also need publishers to come to you and offer a thing. And maybe different models will be followed a few years from now. But I think the concept is the same. Unless you get the reader there, you're not going to survive. And unless you get publishers to give you content, you're not going to also be able to succeed.
Absolutely, sir.
So the more the number of students you have who come to you, and the more the number of titles that you have, which you can offer them, I think it's going to be a success.
Wonderful, sir. So speaking about you, sir, how was this period for you particularly, personally, this pandemic? What were the things that you learned about yourself or about this time?
What I learned for myself is very interesting. I learned that leading a retired life is not such a bad thing.
So can you repeat that? Because I guess we missed some part of it.
I said leading a retired life is not that bad a thing. The first 2 months of the pandemic, I was totally leading a very retired life. So I was always wondering how retired life will be. So the first 2 months of the pandemic taught me that, it's not that bad a thing. The other thing is we used to work 6 days a week. Even on Sundays, I would be thinking of business. Now, there's not enough work to think even for 5 days. So I've allowed everybody in the office to the 6 days a holiday, meaning Saturdays are holidays.
Saturdays are also
and I'm thinking we're still getting things done. So even if Saturday is a holiday, so that is a new thing. We've learned to understand deeply what is it that is the core part of your business, and what is it that
interesting.
The most important thing for you. What is the most important thing? You also get to realize who are your most important employees. Those who can multitask, who is indispensable. You get to know things like that. Who you can lay off, whom you cannot at all. Not that we laid off anybody, but it gives you a perspective that who are your really talented employees who are indispensable.
So any no layoffs, but any recruitments in these times, or the same thing?
No recruitments at all.
No recruitments.
There's not enough work for those who are there. There's not enough work.
Yeah. So going ahead, recruitment would be easier, you would say, because you now see, the skill sets are needed.
Yes. Going forward, the sort of skill sets that are required will be totally different from what we are used to.
Okay.
I would say straight away you'd need a digital marketing person. We didn't have that we don't have that sort of a skill resource now. I also think that employees need to be more computer savvy or technology savvy.
Right.
They need to be, and also the solutions are not going to present themselves in a linear fashion. They're going to be all over the place. So you need employees who know how to learn and, learn on the job and learn on a daily basis.
Right.
I can tell you a very simple example. So we are doing a book, a multimedia book.
Okay.
And for instance, we have not done this before, so we have no clue how to edit the video portion or how to edit the audio portion. And so you need employees who can come up and say, I know somebody here who can take this up and do, and who can do the research for you and say, this guy is charging too much for it. Let's not go to him. Or who will be able to think of it and say, sir, there is a software here, and please use this software. You will be able to
do it. Yeah, edit it. Yeah.
In fact, see, for this product, for the multimedia product that we are thinking, we don't know what should be the price. Should we have a different ISBN? How do you market it? To whom should you market it? We have no clue. We have done the product.
Right.
It's ready during the COVID time. We worked on it and it's ready. The author has worked on it. The product, whatever has to be in video is there. Whatever is in audio is there. And the multimedia product is there. But even simple things like, should it have an ISBN? Should we have a barcode? All those things are new for us. So, my employee also has to be pliable, flexible, problem solving.
Right.
Should be computer savvy. If I tell him digital marketing, he shouldn't think he should not, he should know what it is. But say earlier, if I had a copy editor, the copy editor may not know a whole lot of these things.
Correct. Absolutely.
So
correct.
the sort of skills that are required going forward will be a little different.
Yeah. So all those you didn't exactly, hate the idea of getting retired. But what's next for you? I hope there are lots of things coming up.
Yeah. See, my work is cut out because we have to tie up with more publishing platforms. We have to tie up both for the physical product as well as for the digital product.
Right.
We have to develop more digital products. I am very convinced that my investment will be going forward will be 1 or 2 years. It will be equal to between digital and print, and after that probably digital will take up more. My investments into production would be more. I would have to tie up with more technology players. I have to tie up. Say for instance, we are very strong in Tamil Nadu, but not so strong in other areas. So we'll have to tie up with somebody who can take us all India. And so from that point of view, see, even in terms of bringing out titles or bringing out, question banks, bringing out titles which are only digital first,
right?
Finding out what those niche areas are, everything is new for us. And so there's a lot of unlearning to do and then learning, or learning alongside the unlearning.
That's the right phrase, yes.
Yeah, so our work is really cut out for us.
Yeah. So lastly, although we have some idea it's going to be for Vijay Nicole in the coming future, but what's in the store? What are the new things that are coming up? What's next for Vijay Nicole?
Okay. What I said about myself is true for Vijay Nicole also.
Right.
In the sense that we need to tie up with national players. We need to have more tie-ups.
Yeah.
And we need to, say for instance, we have an FBA account with Amazon, which doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
So my products are not available on Amazon because I've been choosing the wrong idea with them.
Right.
So I have a tie-up with Rediff. I have a tie-up with Sapna, but I don't have tie-ups with. I'm told there are at least 50 other players who can sell physical books. So even for physical books, my online presence is not there.
Right.
So that is one thing that we'll have to get into.
Right.
The sort of digital offerings that we can give. We have 300 titles, so we'll have to maximize. So this is the concept that international publishers play now. they say maximizing the value of your asset.
Wow.
So it's called maximizing the value of your asset. So the maximizing the value of your asset means that suppose you have a book on retailing.
Okay.
So you have an audio book on it, you have a video book on it, you have a multimedia book on it, and maybe you give snippets out of it. You also have an expert coming and talking about it. So just that one book, use that material to gain multiple revenues from it, and tie up with more physical players as well as online players.
Wonderful.
So see, during a normal day, if this pandemic had not happened, perhaps I would not have thought in this fashion. But because this happened, we have to think, oh, how do you maximize the value of your existing
assets?
And instead of investing more and more into further assets, how do you maximize what you already have?
Right.
So we've started that process. We've started that process where we look at all our titles and say, we can bring out at least 5 or 6 other titles with each one of them.
Okay.
So that would be a way forward for Vijay Nicole. We've always been a content player, as you said in your first intro. We have always been a content player. So we want to get more into that space, because I feel the more the number of technology players that are coming into the thing, what they would need at the end of the day is good content. So if we are able to be in that space to provide good content,
right,
then
the road ahead is
we are leveraging our skills, core skills, and we'll like to type with those who have their own skills in technology. So that would be the way forward.
The way ahead. Yeah. Wonderful, sir. We'd like to wish you all the best.
Thank you
for your future endeavors, and thank you so much for giving us your time to speak with us.
Thank you so much.
And I'd like to thank our viewers as well, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.